Okay, can you all see that? It's showing me that you all can see it. Can somebody put in the chat if you all can? Let me check. Yes, yes. Okay, y'all can see my slides. All right, thank you. Okay, hi everyone. I am LaTrice Huff. I am a career coach and personal branding strategist to ambitious women of color. And I am doing this presentation, how to overcome fear in your career and have the life you desire. I am doing this in partnership with the HBCU Career Center. That is an amazing program. I think you all have heard of them. They do so much for the community. And I just wanted to say thank you to them for allowing me to be here and share this information with you all as well. And then we're kind of going to get right into it. All right. Hold on. I want to get right into it. So you can see my slides. I'm LaTrice. All right. So overcoming fear in your career and how to have the life you desire, right? We're going to talk all about how fear has been holding you back. I think we all know to some level what fear is costing us and holding us back from, but we don't know 100%. Like we always don't know, like, or we can't conceptualize like, oh, it's really costing us this, right? I mean, if you see me looking down, I wanted to check something. I wanted to make sure that I was introducing the HBCU Career Center properly. So that's what I was doing. I was like, I didn't want to miss anything. But no, they were just saying, all right. So if I do, I may come back and do a quick intro of them. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we're just going to get right into it. Okay, if you've ever seen me present before, you know I give a lot of tangible stuff and I like to hit on mindset stuff as well. So we're going to have some kind of in-session activity. I really want you all to kind of take, like, I want you all, my goal is for you all to walk away from this and have an action step that you're going to try and have a mindset shift about like really taking control of your career and not letting fear control you anymore. Okay. So take notes, feel free to comment. This is what you're going to learn. My 3-step conquer your fear formula. This is what I teach my clients. This is what I have personally used in my career to help advance my career. Okay. The role fear plays in your job search and what it's costing you in your career. Also, we're going to talk about how fear is holding you back from the career moves you want to make. Like, I'll say this really quickly. Almost every day, someone messages me and says, like, LaTrice, I see this role. They will send me the role and they'll be like, should I apply? 100% of the time, my answer is always yes. But that's just a little bit of example. That's like their fear and they want validation or they want somebody else to say, yes, you can go over, you can do this. So we're going to talk more about that. How to get over, and this is what I call application anxiety and apply for roles that you really want, right? And then also we're going to touch on when feeling comfortable is keeping you stuck. When feeling comfortable where you are is actually, it can actually be, I don't want to say, it can be challenging for your career when we get too comfortable. All right. So, hey, I'll do a quick introduction again. I'm LaTrice, career coach. I'm a speaker, a personal branding expert. I'm also an HR veteran, and I'm founder of the Fearless Branding Formula. That's a signature program that I have about helping women of color increase their salaries $20,000 to $50,000 and land a 6-figure promotion, regardless of a recession. So I help women of color stop playing it safe. And people always ask, I do work with men too. I specialize in women of color, but I work with men too. And this presentation is catered to men and women, just so you know. But I help women of color stop playing safe, become fearless, and land 6-figure jobs they love. So whether you are a male, female, or trans, whatever you consider yourself, I want you to know this is going to work for you, because what I'm going to present today is about you as a human and like your brand and conquering your fears. Okay. So I always say women a lot, and I get that question. So I just wanted to make that statement that this will work for everyone, okay? And then I'll give you all a little bit about me in case you're like, all right, who is this woman? This is me. These are my kids. I have over 10 years of experience in HR. I went from a recruiter to running my own department to now I own my own coaching and consulting business, right? And that's like all the fun story, right? Here's the truth. I was a teen mom. I grew up in Baltimore City. I was a teen mom. Went from a struggling single mother to, yeah, I talk about overcoming fear. I had to seriously overcome my fear and learn how to negotiate. I negotiated a $20,000 promotion for myself. And once I figured out the formula, I got promoted or I got a raise every other year and doubled my income in a very short amount of time. And I'm going to teach you exactly how I overcame my fear in my career and how I teach my clients to do the same. But also, like you guys, being a teen mom was challenging. I had a lot of fear. I could not do things the traditional way as everyone else. I always had to do things differently, right? And that came with a lot of fear. I always kind of felt like an outsider or like I was always doing something wrong because I could never do things the traditional way. But what wound up happening was it taught me how to kind of supercharge my career. That experience taught me how to overcome my fear and get things done and create a life and a career that worked for me and my family. And so I had these are, you see my two older daughters. I had them when I was a teenager. And then I got got married as older. And I had another baby at 36. So I have a 21-year age gap between my kids. So y'all, I know about starting over. I know about fear. I know about taking chances, risk. I know like sometimes it can be challenging and difficult. And I know how life just comes up. Life be lifing, right? So I try to make my presentations and this advice that I'm going to give you all as practical as possible with things that you can take away from. So if you have any questions about my story, just go ahead and pop them in the chat. If we have any people in here who are like, hey, I've always had to do things differently as well, go ahead and put them in the chat. And I was able to go to college and get my degree as a teen mom, as a single mom. And there was a lot of fear around that. So every step of the way, it was like a new challenge and a new thing I had to overcome, but I did it. And I just want to share with you all that whatever is happening in your life, you can overcome that fear because we have real circumstances. And I'll talk about that as well. So you're in the right place. I always say, like, if you have a degree or if you don't, right, you're in the right place. But if you have a degree, you have a certification, and you're like, LaTrice, I'm qualified, but I'm not getting paid what I want. Like, if that's you, right, give me a hand in the chat, right? You're in the right place. If you're tired of this is really yeah. If you're tired of letting fear control your career, you're like, that's it, right? If you're ready for the next level in your career, but you're like, hey, I just don't know where to start. We're going to talk about that, like where to start. If you're like, LaTrice, I'm tired of just working, proving, feeling like I just always have to prove myself. You're in the right place. And if you're an ambitious person and you're ready to feel fulfilled in your career, this is for you. You're in the right place, okay? All right, so let's talk about it. We're going, let me see, I may move myself over here. So I got some pictures, right? Let's talk about it. Let's just be honest, right? What would you go after if you weren't afraid of failing? Would you go after that raise? Would you apply for that job that requires 5 years experience when you have 4? Would you go after that promotion that you don't know if it is really going to happen? Like, what would you go after? Let's just have an honesty moment. And I'm going to look in the chat too, if you weren't afraid to fail. Because this is usually where it's coming from. That fear is like, can be real. Let me check the chat. Everything. But let's be specific. Let's be specific, you guys. Give me one thing that you would go after. Just put it in the chat. If you weren't afraid of failing, like, would you go back to school? Would you get a certificate? Would you go after your boss's position? Like, what would you go after? Megan says, I would apply for a wider range of jobs. Yes. Is it LaTiffany? The job. Tell me about the job. Is it like a 6-figure job? Is it a job with a significant pay increase, more responsibility? Sarah says, my fear of mostly legal worries. A better paying job. I would go after higher paying jobs. Most of us would. I would go after an online full career. Wow. Yes. Stephanie says the 175,000 cloud engineering role. Yeah. Yes. Let's go after that. Leadership roles. Quit my job and go to law school and become a writer. If you knew you couldn't fail, if you knew that if you quit your job, if you quit your job, right, and you became a writer and you knew that you were going to be this amazing, successful writer and you weren't afraid of failing, right? History research, I want a higher paying job. I want to leave my current job and get my bachelor's while looking for a full-time. Yes, a director level role with 6 figures. City mayor, city mayor. And I want you all to see, like, this is so amazing. But if we look, this could be our reality, but fear is holding us back from all of this. Going to nursing school, sound there. I feel lost, but I know sometimes to leave my current job. I have many dreams, but need help getting organized. Yes. And sometimes it's just organizing things in our mind, right? Oh, Dr. Virginia, open a nonprofit and earn a Juris Master's degree. Yes. You all first of all, let's all connect because y'all are power players in this room. We feel amazing people. And look at all these things. You guys, we could change the world. Look at what fear is holding us back from, right? Like I remember thinking like, I just needed, like as a single mom, I was like, I just need $10,000 more, right? I needed $10,000 more. I had got the degree and I was so nervous about negotiating. I negotiated my first job out of college. My heart was racing. I was like, what if they rescind? But I was like, what is the alternative? Like I needed more. It was like my kids want to eat every day, multiple times a day. These kids wanted to eat, right? So I was like, I had to do it, but I was scared out of my mind. I was scared out of my mind, right? And so all of those things that we saw that we would go after, you guys, like if we weren't afraid of failing, you being in your comfort zone, it's costing you all of that. All you being in your comfort zone, it's keeping you stuck. And I'm telling y'all, feeling comfortable will keep you in a toxic environment. Feeling comfortable will keep you in a low-paying job. Feeling comfortable. I've seen people who was in situations with an abusive boss, being underpaid and overworked. They were like, but I don't know what I'm gonna get if I switch jobs. I'm like, but it's got to be better than this. But staying comfortable. So even before we get into the fear, like we have that fear piece, and then we have this comfort of what we know. Right? And we can be stuck because everything we want is on the other side of the fear. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to check the chat. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, playing a musical instrument for my career. Oh man, I'm a single mom going to school full time and working. I did the exact same thing, Megan. I would also take more classes if I knew I would be able to handle it. Yes. I want to start a museum. Yes, Brittany. This is amazing. I need to get over the fear. Yes. Because it's like our comfort zone. I should have had like a diagram. Like our comfort zone is here. Everything we want is like just outside of it. Like sometimes we think we need to make the leaps and bounds, but what if you just need to take the first step out of your comfort zone? I want to ask you all this. Have you all heard about, they call it like the baby elephant syndrome. Tell me, have you all heard of this before? And so I'll tell you what it is. It's based on a real thing, right? So elephants in captivity, when they get baby elephants, they will chain them to a tree with either a chain or a rope. They will chain them to the tree. Elephants are meant to roam. So these elephants are going to roam. They're trying to get away from the tree, these baby elephants, right? They're trying. As they get older, they stop trying. As they get bigger, the tree does not grow. right? And at some point, a what elephants are what 2 ton? A huge elephant can tumble over a tree. A elephant, a full-grown elephant, elephants can tumble over cars and trucks, and houses can destroy houses. But because of conditioning, that baby elephant will not even try. Now, a full-grown elephant will not even try to walk away from the tree. In its eyes, it is stuck to the tree, so it doesn't move anymore. It doesn't even try. And this is what I want to tell you all. The chains are real, but they are not unbreakable. What if you take that first step towards what you want and overcoming that fear, and the tree will fall, the chains will break? But because of life, society, conditioning, right? Fear, all of these things, we get in our comfort zone and we stop trying. And we have all these things and we look down and we're like, but I'm chained. But what if those chains, they're real, but they're not unbreakable? When I was a single teen mom struggling in Baltimore, that was a real scenario. I had real kids, real food, real money problems. All of that was real. And I still had to be like, but I'm not stuck in this. I wasn't even stuck in Baltimore City. Like, I have people who have lived their whole life in a 2-mile radius, which is fine, but I was like, that wasn't for me. And so I'm telling you all from personal experience, you have to take the first step. You have to see that the chains will break, that the tree will fall. Everything you think you're stuck to, everything that you would think like this is a real circumstance, yes. And you can still walk away from it. I'm going to check the chat. Oh, y'all said no, y'all have never heard of that. Yes. So it's a real thing. Yes. With the elephants, and they get big, and it's conditioning. They've just been conditioned that way, right? So you got to think like, what would happen and what could you do if you were like, these chains are real, but they're not unbreakable. So I'm just going to take steps. I'm just going to start walking. I'm going to take the first step. I'm going to start moving in the direction that I want to go. Like, you all already know what you want to do. A lot of times people are like, I don't know. Usually we do know what we want to do. We're just scared to articulate it. We're scared to go after it. So here's the thing. This is what fear is costing you in your career and in your life. It's costing you time. I've seen people sit in the same chair complaining, talking about what they want, but they're so scared to make a move, and time just passes by. Right? It takes it's costing you energy. Do you know how much energy it takes to like just keep circulating? Imagine being frustrated, right? It takes energy. It is costing you money. It's just no way to put it. Fear is costing you money in your career. It just is. You all know what you would go after. But mental health, I've seen people like literally have panic attacks in the parking lot of their jobs, right? Physical health. It's costing you your happiness and your peace of mind. A lot of you said amazing things, opening museums, starting a nonprofit, becoming city mayor, literally things that would change the world and bring you so much peace and happiness, but fear is preventing you. Traveling, family and friends. I had a client, and when she finally got out of this toxic situation, she was in a toxic situation at her job. And when she finally got out, she said, LaTrice, my relationship with my partner is better because she wasn't drained. She wasn't complaining all the time. Her relationships were better. And sometimes we can't see all of the things that is costing us. We just think, oh, maybe money, but fear is also, and I don't have this on here, but it's also costing you your confidence. It will ding, 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 and hit your confidence and twist like what you really think and know is possible. Okay. Shauna says, I'm trying to focus on staying out of my comfort zone due to fear. Yes. And here's the thing. What if we just need to take one little step out of our comfort zone? I like a range, and I call it 2 to 10. I like a 2 to 10%. Like, what's a 2% shift? What's a 10% increase out of your comfort zone? We don't have to jump and leap and swim. You know, people are like, let's dive. Whoa, hold up. Let's just take a first step and walk first. And it may be much easier on your nervous system too, to be like, oh, I'm just going to take the first next step. What if I do that? Jonathan says, I can relate to time it's costing you. I didn't go back to college until I was 35. Yeah. Stephanie says, yes, I spend so much time tailoring my resume and doing interview prep. It cost me the job. Yeah, I hear this so much about tailoring these resumes. I'm going to move on and I'm going to say this. You don't always need to tailor your resume to every single thing. It should be slight tweaks that could take you less than 10 minutes. When you have filtered, when you've created your resume to show your impact and you know the exact job that you want. And so what happens is there's an alignment. When there is alignment, you don't have to spend all of this time tailoring. When there's a misalignment, then we're trying to almost recreate our resume and we got 7 different resumes. It's a misalignment there. So yeah, sometimes it's like going after what we want right away. Creating our resume for what we want will actually save you time from all of these tweaks. Brittany says, I don't know where to start. I need a mentor. I took a step, but what happens when it doesn't work out? This is a good question. And I'm gonna say this really quickly and then we're gonna get it. What happens when it doesn't work out? We reassess and then we take another step. We reassess and we take another step. That's growth. That's how we keep going. You've just learned a valuable lesson. Megan says, resume gives me anxiety. I love resumes. They don't get sometimes if we're not aware of our impact, right, then a resume can give us anxiety because we feel like we need to give them everything instead of I'm going to give them what they need and what I want to show them to attract the type of role and company I want, right? All right. So fear of failure will keep you playing small in your career. When I asked y'all that question in the Let's Talk About It, y'all had big dreams. Nobody was like, I want to sit and do nothing. Y'all had big stuff. So that fear, right, is keeping you playing small. You all know what you want. You know these big things, right? But this fear of failure is keeping you small in your career. And I want you all to see what it's doing, right? So I want to share with you all 3 ways that fear is showing up in your career. And then I'm going to share the solutions of like, okay, this is how we're going to overcome it. All right. Here are the 3 ways. Application anxiety. And I'm going to go into more detail. The fear of failure, and then the fear of rejection. These are the 3 things that I've seen come up with my clients over and over again. These are things I've seen that people have told me that weren't my clients. People will message me and be like, I'm so scared to apply, or I'm scared if I go after this, they're going to reject me. And I always say, okay, but there's ways to get around it. So let's talk about application anxiety. And I'm gonna pick on my women for a little bit. Lady, I see this most in women. I work with men too, but I see this most in women where we want to meet 100% of the jobs, right? And let me tell you what application anxiety is. You look, you find a job. When people say, LaTrice, I've been looking for a job. And then I'll say, well, how many did you apply to? They'd be like, none. What? But they got 15, 20 tabs open. You saving jobs. You looking at it on your phone. You got all the alerts coming. If this is you, just say, put a Y. We gonna overcome this. Brittany's raising her hand. If you got tabs open with jobs that you ain't never applied to, then you realize it's been a week and it's been too long and you close them out and start the cycle all over again. That's application anxiety. When you go through and you like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need that. Oh, I don't need that. Not gonna happen. Close out. That's application anxiety. They've actually done studies and show that women want to meet 90 to 100% of the qualifications before they apply, and men will apply. I think it's like 50 to 70 they'll apply, right? But and I'm gonna talk to my fellas too. I've seen men do this as well. Men do it differently. Men will wait. They will eventually do it, but they'll wait. They'll want some confirmation, but they will eventually apply. I've seen more with women. They just won't even apply. But either way, it's costing you. It's just you guys, an application has no power. I just want you all to know that it has no power. I'm going to check the comments because I see the comments blowing up. I definitely wait. Anxiety is crippling. Yes. I'm changing careers and I'm stuck at applications. Yeah. Yes. It's that it's little anxiety. People have told me, and let me tell y'all, I know from personal experience, I have done this too. I'm known for the tabs. Okay. I will have 15, 20 tabs open, right? And or I'll have complete an application. That was my MO. So I could always be like, I'm in the process, I'm so busy. That was me. But I see a lot of this. And then we wait, and then either we don't apply, or when we apply, we get declined, not because we weren't qualified, but because they just got too many applicants by the time we applied. Like nothing to do with your qualifications. Yes, imposter syndrome. Yes. So that's just, and what I just told you all was like what it is, what it looks like, and here's the thing, what it feels like. I get it. It's literally anxiety. People have told me like, LaTrice, literally they get tightness in their chest or their palms get sweaty, like real anxiety. Okay. This is one of the things I recommend. If this is happening for you, I want you to step back, because we need to work on building your confidence. That's the solution. We have to work on our confidence and our impact. I use this a lot. I use the word impact a lot because I notice we don't always know or track our impact. We're like, I just go in, I do my job, I do my work, right? And we don't see that not being validated, not being praised, not earning the money we deserve dings our confidence. It dings us, right? And it shows up with this application anxiety. So one of the things I recommend, and this is a very practical thing, it's practical and it's mindset, is to grab a sheet of paper. Let me see. Have a sheet of paper, grab a sheet of paper. And I literally tell my clients to write 25 reasons why. This is, we call it. I have some clients on here and they know I call it the 25 reasons why. And you're going to come up with 25 reasons why you're ready for the next level in your career. This does double duty. It helps boost your confidence because we have all these things up here and we try to put on our resume. I like to do this even before you write your resume. Come up with 25 reasons why you are ready, right? And it could be anything. I'm amazing. I'm great. I like myself. Down to like, oh, I organized those files last week. Oh, I helped my coworker, 2 days ago. This is for you more than anyone else. It's going to help rebuild your confidence. Double duty, it also will serve as things you can pull out for your resume. Even more, it will serve as what I call hero stories. Even more, it's giving your brain evidence that you are ready. So now and I recommend doing this, like if you're suffering from application anxiety, do these 25 reasons why, have it up somewhere. When you're about to apply and look for a job, literally start looking through your 25 reasons why. It will boost your confidence. It will help you. It's giving your brain evidence. So now you have your 25 reasons why up against the job description. You now have more than enough qualifications, and that's what you need to see. All right. What if we take a minute? I want you all to give me one reason. Like, give me one reason why you're ready for the next level. Just put it in the chat. I'm going to keep going, but I want to see it in the chat. This is important for you to do. It's important for your confidence. It's important when you go on interviews. It's important for your resume that you know how to articulate what you have done. I know God has better unweight because of the bomb interview. Yes. Tired, I better understand my worth. Yes. Y'all, give me one thing. I should see the chat like going. It says we got a lot of people on. Chat should be going. This is good for you to literally type up at least one reason right now why you are ready for the next level. Whatever y'all said that the fear was holding you back from, you just give me one reason why it's ready. And we're proclaiming this to the world. This is the power when you're writing something down, to proclaim it. Yeah, I'm seeing the chat. Yes. I'm gonna keep going, but I'm gonna come back to the chat too, because I should be saying yes. This, once you have your confidence built up, right? And you have your 25 reasons why. Now I want you to apply to jobs you really want. One of the things I hear is people say, oh, LaTrice, y'all know if y'all I fuss about this. They'll be like, oh, LaTrice, I just applied to that job for practice. Why are we practicing what we don't want? Do teams practice losing? No, we're going to practice what we want. We're going to go after roles we really want. When people tell me, like, I just went after this just for practice, I'm like, and you interviewed and you did all of this, and now you're just to see, it's easier, better ways to build up your confidence. Because sometimes it's like, you just don't want to be declined. It's like, I just want to make sure that I'm still wanted or needed. So we go after roles we don't really want, right? Where the solution is like, we have to start, it's better to have a little bit of anxiety, have your list to build your confidence, and then really apply to roles that you want. That's going to move the needle for you rather than looking at jobs, having the tabs open and convincing yourself you don't meet the qualifications. Sometimes it's like, and I'm just going to do it. And hit apply. I'm going to set aside this time. We actually have to do it. The actual movement and the action will also build your confidence. Going after what you really want will build your confidence. Having that list of 25 reasons why will build your confidence. Wow, I'm checking the chat. You all are amazing and capable of grasping new concepts and applying the learning quickly to improve. Yes, Karen. I am done being afraid of life and other people. Yes. Y'all, this is amazing. Yes. And this is my client, Sade. And she just says, before working with LaTrice, she was putting in so many applications without getting callbacks because she was struggling showing and communicating what she was doing in her previous roles. This is why those 25 reasons why that list is going to be so important. Because afterwards, she was clear on her brand. She knew exactly how to highlight her strengths and stand out in the job market. And she got a job making $20,000 more. So I want to show you all, like, I'm giving you all mindset tips and actual practical tips, and then I'm showing you how you use it in your job search, how it's going to help you overcome the fear, and how it's going to move the needle for you. Imagine doing 3 things, like a few different things, and getting a $20,000 increase, right? Like sometimes we have to see it's not as hard as our brain makes it out to be, right? Here's the second way it shows up is fear of failure. Again, I'm guilty of this. I know a lot of people are. We will future pace the failure. What if I've had people say, what if I applied, they interview me, they offer me the job, I get the job, and then I can't do it, and then I get fired. It's like, whoa, we don't wait 6 months into the future by just looking at a job description, right? And we have to know when our brains are doing that, our brains will future pace the worst possible case scenario. Okay. And so that fear of failure what people will think is like, okay, then I don't have enough. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough education. I don't have enough. So then what we try to do, and what this looks like is we try to stack the deck against failure. All right. Stacking the deck against failure means I'm going to go back to school and get another degree. I'm going to get another certification and then another certification. I'm going to wait. They say 5 years experience. I only have 4.5. I'm going to wait to get 6 years experience. That way I know I'm more than qualified. Right. That's what we try to do. We try to like stack the deck again of like, if I can meet all 100, then it's no possible way that I can fail at this. And then what happens is we just move the goalpost. We just moved, you get all these things, and then you're like, oh, I should probably go for jobs with 10 years experience. We just start to move our own goalpost, right? And we have to know when we're doing this of like, oh, am I just trying to stack the deck instead of leveraging what I have? Right? So what happens is we stay stuck in our comfort zone. We convince ourselves that where we're at in this comfort zone is better than the failure. Right? And here's the thing, failure is an option, but failure is only failure if you stay there. If you fail at something and then and then do it again next time, you're a hero. How many times do we hear people who have failed at businesses and then had one great business and now they're millionaires, and we call them business geniuses when they done failed, when they done like bombed 17 companies, right? Like, so that fear of failure, just like the anxiety, will paralyze you and keep you stuck, and we just won't move. We just won't move. And again, it'll cost you time, money, energy, and we only think the worst case scenario. We only think it. And one reason is we're human, and that's the way our brains go, right? So just know nothing has gone wrong. You just have a human brain if that's the case. And so then the question is, okay, how do we account for this? And we need self-belief. We need to know I am enough. I can do this. With everything I have right now, I can do this. And if I absolutely need something, I will get that and only that, right? And so the other piece to that is, if we're going to think worst case scenario, then we have to go best case scenario. I always use this in my clients. I'm like, okay, your mind has went all the way, fast forward 5 years, months, and we're failing. What now is the best case? What is the best case scenario? Let's daydream. Let's envision that for a minute. Can we talk about that? So many times we don't even talk about the best case scenario. We solely go, what if I lose money? What if I lose time? What if it doesn't work? We never think like, oh my goodness, this could work and change my entire life. This could change the financial trajectory of my family. I had a client, she was like, LaTrice, when I helped her get an increase, she was like, this is the most money anyone in her family has ever made. But she had to take a chance. She had to start believing in herself. And I wanted to tell you all briefly about my client, Irene, and how self-belief worked with her. Like, she was struggling to get promoted. Her employer kept promising her a promotion, but not giving it to her. She had 5 years experience, and she was told by somebody else that she needed 10 years experience. She needed to pay her dues and work hard. Do we know about paying dues and work and these imaginary dues, right? Right. And like she thought, she was like, I want 25,000 more, but what if that's too much? She didn't realize her brand. She was scared of rejection. And we most of the time worked on her mindset and worked on, what is the best case scenario? What is your impact? What if fear is one option? What if failure is one option, but success is another? And that was one of the main things we worked on. She wound up landing a 6-figure promotion, fully remote role with a great company. I get this a lot. A lot of times people are scared of companies too. There are great companies out there, right? She used the fact that she was bilingual. She used that as part of her brand. She negotiated a title, a bonus, a certification. All these things she didn't have, she just negotiated it into the offer. And so I want you all to see best case scenario, you guys, she wound up starting a business. Instead of being as scared of rejection, when a company said, oh, we can't afford your salary raise, she was like, hey, no worries. What if I consult for you? With that increase, she wound up buying a new house. She recently told me this was the most amount of money anyone in her family has ever made. So I want you all to also, like, our brain is always going to go to the worst case scenario. I want you all to start living in best case scenario. Like, even if it's just for 5 minutes, let your brain indulge in best case scenario. All right. So then here's the number 3. 3 ways fear shows up in your career. This fear of rejection. The fear of rejection, I've seen, like, we get the possibility of rejection will prevent us from applying too. An actual rejection sometimes will stop us in our tracks. We're progressing. We get a decline email, it stops us from everything. And we don't want that. It could be 1,000,001 reasons why you get rejected from a role, none of which has anything to do with you personally. I want you to hear that. It doesn't mean you're not qualified. It doesn't mean you're a bad candidate. It doesn't mean you're not ready. It could be the job was no longer available. They didn't have the budget. They chose somebody internally. It's no longer available. Pandemic, recession, it could be anything, anything, and nothing to do with you personally and your qualifications. It doesn't mean stop what you're doing and do something else. All right. So what this looks like, and this is how you know if you're like, all right, I got this fear of rejection. If you're only applying to jobs that you meet 100% of the qualifications, I'm gonna check the chat. I want to know if you like, I need to meet 1, 2, if it's 10, 15 qualifications and you get the little check, you like, I'm gonna check that, I'm gonna check that, I'm gonna check that. And you like, I need to meet 100%. I need to fully meet them. You got fear of rejection going on right there. If you know you deserve more money and you're like, I can't ask for a raise, they're not doing good. They sitting here overworking you doing 2, 3 people jobs. Somebody done quit, somebody else got laid off. And instead of hiring new people, they have you doing the job and not giving you any more money. It's like, all right, this is how fear of rejection is showing up. If you're not going after that promotion or the next level in your career, it's probably like, I'm scared I'm gonna get rejected. This is my favorite. If you're just like, I'm gonna work. I had a colleague tell me before, she was like, LaTrice, I thought if I work hard, they would see me working and I would get rewarded. I was like, who told you that? Like, you're gonna get rewarded with more work. You gotta speak up. Or thinking like my work should speak for itself. I hear that so much. And I want, let me let me let me just talk about this with the work. I believe in hard work. Hard work is not the only way to advancing your career. In fact, I think we all could probably think of somebody who is not a hard worker who is probably more advanced in their career than us. That's just one slice. That's just one piece of the puzzle. It is not the whole picture. Okay. So I'm gonna check I see the comments, I'm gonna check them. So here's the thing. This is the solution. You actually need to create a career strategy. How are you going to leverage what you have? Instead of work, 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 how can you leverage your brand? How can we focus on your impact, right? And so think now, if you're following along, you got the 25 reasons why we're applying to jobs that we want. We're conquering our fear of failure, right? We're working on our mindset. We're visualizing and thinking about best case scenarios. Now we're coming up with an actual strategy and plan. Because what I see happen so much is people will get more and more and more of something and have no plan for it. They get another certification, but don't have a plan for the certification. So then they think they have to get another one or degree. You have to have a career strategy that you are controlling. You get to dictate your career, nobody else. Nobody else. And so I want to say this, with your career strategy, you can put a plan in there for rejection recovery. Because I'm not going to say, oh, if you do this, you will never, ever get rejected. What I can say is we can minimize the rejection. We can learn from it, right? We don't want to try to avoid it, because when we try to avoid rejection, we don't go after what we want because we're just avoiding rejection and now we're just in a loop. So can we plan for how am I going to, not plan for rejection, but how am I going to recover? If I get a rejection notice, what am I going to learn from that? How am I going to minimize it? Am I going to learn, oh, I probably should have applied sooner. Oh, maybe instead of applying through the system, when I see they have 200 applicants, maybe I'll try to get a referral, right? Referrals is the best way to get in. Right? How can we learn from the rejection instead of letting it keep us in a loop? And we need to have a strategy and a plan for it. I'm going to check the comments. Keeping kids safe is my priority, but ain't reflecting the hard work I do. I feel stuck. Yeah, I think I hit a plateau. I want you all to try these things, especially when people tell me like, I think I hit a plateau. We need a plan. We need to start looking at your 25 reasons why you're ready. We need to figure out what that next step is, right? And then here's the thing. You need to know your personal brand. Now, personal branding is the skill I teach, and I'll tell you why. I focus so much on personal branding because personal branding is a 6-figure skill. More than hard work, more than everything, personal branding, knowing how to own your story and control your narrative, right? And leverage what you have outside of just hard work is a six-figure skill. I want you all to hear this. This is why I put it on. It is a six-figure skill. This is what I specialize in. You need to know your personal brand. And with that, it's like, I'll tell you all what that is. So what is personal branding? It's your reputation. It's what you stand for. It's who you are at your core. It's your natural gifts. And a lot of times, things that come natural to us, we tend to devalue, right? Or we don't see how amazing it is because it was just so easy, right? We don't see the impact that we're making because we're like, oh, anybody could do that, but they couldn't. You did it. And when you know how to own that and speak on that, that is a six-figure skill that will propel you in your career faster than just working hard. Because I've seen people sit there and I'm telling y'all, when I was in HR, and I sat there, and there was people who had been in the company 20 years sitting in the same chair, and I was literally lapping them and salary and responsibility and super. I was just lapping them. And somebody even I remember this older lady came to me and asked and was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I was like, "I'm getting up. I'm talking about myself." She was like, "Oh, you network all the time." I was doing more than networking. I wasn't just smiling. I was telling people my brand. I was like, hey, I'm strategic but friendly. What problem do you need me to help you with? I'm a problem solver, right? I was giving people the words to speak about me. I was changing the narrative. I wasn't just sitting there doing the work. I was tracking my impact, and then I would tell them exactly the impact, not just what I did, but the impact I had on the company. And that, you guys, is a six-figure skill. So when we're creating our strategy, we're not just going to have work, 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 work in our career strategy. You have to know your personal brand. Okay. More things. This is how you can kind of parse it out. What are your professional goals? What do you do? What do you do best? What are your strengths? What education do you have? Sometimes people forget how much education they have. I had one person, she got her degree 18 years ago. And so she stopped putting it on her resume. And I was like, did you lose your knowledge? Put this on there. All of these things, your certifications, associations, what do you enjoy doing? How have you contributed to your current or previous company? What volunteering have you done? Keywords. And by keywords, I mean, what words is the industry or your ideal job? If somebody was looking for you, on what words would they use? And you want to start now using those words, okay? And this is just a quick story about my client, Teresa. She was like overworked. She was already making six figures, but she was miserable. She was being declined for roles that she was more than qualified for. She had her resume done several times. So a lot of y'all who were like, resume, she was one of them, right? She was job searching. It was starting to impact her confidence. And she had got declined for a role because she didn't have healthcare experience. After working with me, the only thing for her, because she had everything else, the main thing we worked on was her brand and was her creating like a career plan, a career strategy. She did that. She was actually hired for the exact same role that she was declined from for not having industry experience. She never got industry experience. She just was better able to articulate her brand. This is why I say it needs to be a part of your career strategy, okay? She wound up getting a role as a director, a $30,000 base salary increase. In the meantime, she passed her certification. She spent more time with her family, and she was at peace. So I want you all to see, like, we have fear here, right? And then I want you all to see all of these things and possibilities on the other side of fear, on the other side, right? I'm going to check the chat to see if it's any comments, but what we just went over. So I just told you all the three ways fear shows up in your career, and then how to conquer them so that you can advance and move forward in your career. I'm just checking the chat. I just got a referral for an internship from an internship. Go, Jonathan. I need help branding myself and knowing my audience. Lois says guilty. Yeah, I have personally been guilty of all of these things too. No one is you and you are the power. Yes, I love this. Tell my story and who I am. Yes. I need a brand, aka career identity. And but here's the beauty of it. You get to create it. You get to create it. That's the thing. A lot of times we think somebody needs to tell us or give it to us, but what if you get to create it? And then it's like, this is my brand, this is my strategy in it. So here, all right, here's the formula. We're building up our confidence. We're doing the 25 reasons why, right? We're building up and we're applying to jobs we actually want. We're gaining more self-belief. We're telling ourselves, I am enough. I can do this. I have everything I need right now to succeed. I literally have affirmations all around to build up my self-belief, right? You need self-belief will help you more than anything. You need to believe in yourself. And if your brain is going to give you worst case scenario, we then need to go to best case scenario, right? And then lastly, we need to create a career strategy. And that career strategy needs to involve a rejection recovery plan and a personal branding plan. Like, how am I going to leverage my personal brand? All right. So we're coming towards the end of the presentation. So I want you all to tell me, what is one thing that you can do today to help you overcome fear? Or let's say this week, let's say, what is one thing you're like, all right, I'm going to do this one thing to help me overcome the fear? Go ahead and put it in the chat. And you all have been amazing and interactive. And I'm going to check the questions. Alicia has a question. What's the 25 minutes? Oh, 25 reasons why, Alicia. So what we're doing is 25 reasons why I'm ready for the next level in my career. And you could really change it to anything that's keeping you stuck. I call it the 25 reasons why exercise, but you can, anything that's keeping you stuck. So it could be 25 reasons why I am ready for the next level in my career. 25 reasons why. Another thing I have my clients do is 25 reasons why I deserve six figures, or I am ready for a six-figure role, right? So, but it does so much. It's, you literally are going to write it on a piece of paper or type it. I'm old fashioned. I'll be writing. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, y'all, thank you. I'm loving that you all are going to do the 25 reasons why exercise. It's going to change so much for you all. June says, continue building myself up and saying my 14 minutes of affirmations daily. Yes, affirmations do wonders. I want to write 25 reasons why I'm ready. Yes, is it Latricia? Latricia? That's such a pretty name. Let me know. And you have the capital T like my name too. Oh, yes. I'm ready for a six-figure role. Yes. Stephanie says, apply to the roles that I really want. Yes, you guys. Yes. Work on strategies as to how I will sell myself and express why I'm deserving of the positions I apply to. Yes. Okay. So now we're ready for questions. I think we're ending like right on time too. So let me know what questions you have for me, anything that we've talked about. Just start putting your questions in the chat. And then I put some common questions on here. I get this is like, what's something I can do this week to get out of my comfort zone? And what I literally recommend is like, here's an exercise too, is like drawing a picture and like putting in the circle a comfort zone and literally just writing, what's your comfort zone? Is it your job? Is it where you live? Is it the money? And then what would be like, I like visuals right outside the comfort zone. And then you could literally be like, okay, what do I need to do for that next step? What if the next step is just researching about salary? What if the next step is just talking to somebody? The next step could be connect with LaTrice. I'm going to give you all my information in my LinkedIn so you all can connect with me. What if the next step is like, I'm going to connect, I'm going to reach out to LaTrice. And then I got this too. This was another common question I get a lot, is any tips for moving past procrastination? And I put like procrastination, anxiety, all in the same thing, like our minds are racing. Some of the best things for procrastination is literally, to sound weird, do the opposite, step away for a minute. Like whatever you're procrastinating on, you may literally need to step away and then break it down and put it in your calendar. Even things we think are easy, can you break it down into even smaller pieces so it doesn't seem so insurmountable in your brain? Where they say it's kind of like eating what they call it, eat the elephant, like one bite at a time. It really, really can help of like, okay, I think it's this big, but what if I chunk it down, right? And then also I want to make sure you all keep in touch. I'm gonna put my LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn, but if you go to LinkedIn and you put in LaTrice Huff SPHR, you should see me, you'll get me. And then also I am offering you guys, if you want to book a virtual coffee with me, it's a 15-minute call, a 15-minute conversation, and we can chat about what your next step is. If you want to learn more about my Fearless Branding Formula program or anything that we talked about, I'm also offering these to you all as well. And I'm going to put these links in the chat so that you all have them. And I'm going to check the comments. All right, I'm going to go back because I see some. Oh, I know I deserve abundant in life, but I feel like the steps to get there will overwhelm me. Here's the thing with overwhelm. Overwhelm is real. Just say that because life and everything. I do like to break things down until its smallest pieces and get support. I'll tell you, each time I ever thought things were like insurmountable, you guys, I got my degree while working full time and raising 2 kids by myself. You can do this. And let me just be honest, it was overwhelming, right? It was, but I did it and it changed so much for my life, right? But one of the things, everything that I'm teaching you all today, literally I did. I had to be like, okay, what's going to happen at the end of this? What's the best case scenario, right? Also, I got support. I had like a little mini network, right? And here's the thing, you ever hear like, the hit isn't as hard as the fall, right? I don't know if you ever heard that, but essentially it's like when we're jumping, we're scared to jump. And then it's like, oh, when we fall, we're like, oh, I'm still alive. We dusted off. Like it wasn't even that far. That's kind of how it is. Like our brain will make things so big and overwhelming. And then when we start doing them, take that first step and then that next step, we're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Oh, I survived that. I got some scrapes, but I survived it. I'm going to check. I want to go back because I see some questions all the way back. Listing the 25 reasons. Apply the careers that I deserve. Thank you, Dr. Virginia. Will the recording be made available? Yes. Yes. The HBCU Career Center, they're going to have this available. And I do have I forgot to say I have a 1-page sheet for you guys as well that I'll make sure that I give to them for you all as well. Is it possible to get a copy of the presentation? Not my slides, but the recording, yes. And then I do have a 1-pager for you all that I'll give them. So I just want to make sure. Any tips for fear of upsetting your boss when you land the next role? I have wavered out of fear of disappointing my boss and coworkers. Do you mean like if they get mad that you apply or you get it? Here and here's the thing. Any tips for the fear of upsetting your boss? I would also be like, why would my boss be upset if I move on for something better than me? Better for you. 2, sound kind of harsh, but like, is this something you want to waste your energy on? I would just be like, you know what? At the end, sometimes I have a standard line that I tell people of like, you have to sometimes tell people and tell yourself like, you have one life and one career. So you have to do what's best for you. You don't mean to upset anybody, but it may happen. You can't control somebody else's emotions and you still need to progress. So it's like, I would think about how much energy I want to give that because it's no way to 100% cushion somebody else's emotions. But for you, you can build up your confidence and tell yourself, I'm doing what I know is right. I'm doing what's best for my career. If I want a professional relationship with them, I can. If I want to be friends with them, I can. At one point, I supervised my coworkers. That was challenging. And we did it. And we're still friends. And she was in my wedding. And it did upset her. And I did upset her at times. And we got over it. So just kind of keep that in mind too, of like, I of like, you can't control somebody else's emotions, right? And you have to ultimately do what's best for you in your career. Let me know, Autumn, if that makes sense. How do I structure a brand in detail? Tell me what you mean, like a brand sentence. I like to take some of those elements. I have a whole form that we go through and create like an I am statement. And you can start with an affirmative, like I am blank. I always say when you're first starting to look at your brand or your gifts, it's usually the thing you get complimented on the most and the thing you get complaints on the most. Your gift lies somewhere in between there. I used to get complaints about talking too much. Now people pay me to talk. Right now, I'm literally a coach. I have enjoyed the webinar. Thank you. When applying to roles that you don't meet all the qualifications, how do you speak to that when asked in the interview? It's so good. One way you can also ask is, what percentage of the job duties, like what's the weight of that? If it's something that's like 5% of the task, or it's something that you can learn, it may not be that big of a deal. Like, for instance, with my client Teresa, her thing was she knew people. She was like, I know people, I can learn the industry. But everybody who comes in there is not going to be able to learn, like, people, is not going to be able to manage people. So that's one of the things, is like you could highlight what you're great at and make that the thing that solves their problem, while almost minimizing the things that you don't have. What I like to say is like, answer the question and redirect. And you want to answer and redirect. Will the slides and recording? So yes, the recording will be made available. I have interviews, and when asked why I want to leave my current job, I say I'm ready for a change and ready to learn new skills in a different industry. So when we talk about learning new skills in a new industry, should I change this? I would almost say I want to, instead of learn something, which is good, but I want to contribute my skills to a new industry. So then that way they're getting like, oh, you're giving them something, they're not just giving you something. Like, it's like, oh, I'm not just going to come in here and learn, I'm going to come in here and make an impact. So maybe tweak it and just switch that a little bit and see how that works. Thank you, guys. Oh, let me move this. Thank you, thank you. I'm often tend to meet the degree requirement, but lack the years of work experience, which often keeps me from applying for higher level jobs. What are some tips or advice you would give? How to maneuver through this? Honestly, I would just apply and make everything else meatier. How can you really expand on the degree and what that taught you, right? Like, make everything else meatier, but you can still apply. But if it says like, and then we have to know a balance. If you have 1 year experience, but they want 10, I don't know, right? But if you have 3 years experience and they want 5, I would apply, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you. You all are amazing. This is so good. Okay. Let me make sure I give you all these links too. I want to put them in the chat. So I'm going to make sure I give you all the links. I'm going to try to get through the questions. Again, if you can't, if I don't get to your question, be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn too, okay? This is the link. I'm going to put in the link for virtual coffee. That's that one. And then I'll put in my LinkedIn one as well. And then I just put in my LinkedIn one so you all can see that too. Okay. I want to check back at these comments. Up in the degree. Thanks, LaTrice. You all are amazing. Thank you. You love the action. I wanted to make these actionable. I'll share this in my coaching and my business. I do part mindset and part strategy. And that is what I find that helps people get the fastest results and long-term transformation, is you need a combination of both. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All their feelings and responsibility, respectfully. They do get mad at employees who try to do better and turn to HR that they're not rehireable. Okay, but here's the thing, and I just been in HR, when a manager would tell me somebody isn't on, they're not rehirable, they would have to legitimately tell us a reason why. And really, a lot of times, only HR could make that call. Like, yeah, it would be like a little checkbox on the form, but as the HR professional, they would have to explain to me why that person isn't rehirable. And just because a manager checks a box doesn't mean that's going on your like file or electronic file. Just know that too. And you guys, and here's the thing, don't be afraid to move forward because because a job that you're no longer going to be at doesn't is saying you can't go back there. Like, that's their loss then. That's their loss. But do you see how like these things, it's keeping us from moving forward? And we sometimes, like, I like to sit down, because my brain does the same thing, and write out all these things my brain is giving me and be like, you know what? I'm going to give some energy to this. Some things I'm not going to give energy to. These things I'm going to be like, okay, well then, if they say I'm not rehirable because I got a better job, that tells me right then and there, this was the best move to leave this toxic situation. Right? We'll definitely. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just checking. I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions. You have to look out for yourself because they can let you go at any time. I just got laid off last week after giving my company 3+ years. Yeah. And I love, I truly believe there are some good companies out there, and I have seen that, but also, yes, you are in charge of your career. You control your career, not the company. And so we do just want to be aware of things too. Like, yes, we want to be respectful. We don't want to burn bridges, and we don't want to let a toxic environment hold us back either. Always keep your resume up to date. Yeah. You got it ready all the time. I left my job last summer that I hated from the start. Stayed there for 5 years because I didn't think I could find something better. That company just went under last week and everyone lost their job. Moral of the story, always look out for yourself. Yeah, but just like your mental health too. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, it's if it's something that you hate, it I always like sometimes that toxic air will impact, like it will just impact how you're thinking about yourself too. And it will have you thinking there's nothing better when it's everything else is better than that, right? And they're not even managing their business well. So just keep that in mind. If you're in a toxic situation and you're thinking like, oh, I don't know if I can do better. What if anything is better? What if it's like you can absolutely do better? And that is what I have found is my clients that have been in toxic situations, when they get out and go somewhere else, they see they can do less work, less stress, and make more money and not in a toxic situation. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to check the Q&A and discuss the cost of your services. Yes, go ahead and we could, if you go ahead and book a virtual coffee with me, we can talk more about it there. Because I'm currently enrolling, but I don't want to talk too much about it in this presentation. So yeah, we can talk about that. And then did somebody have their hand raised? It showed me and then it went off. Let me know. Thank you. This was great. My question, can I move out without taking a management role? Yes. I have clients making upwards of like close to 200,000 and they're called individual contributors. So I have a client, she's literally making 160,000 and she does not manage any person. She manages a process, but she does not manage people, and she's still considered a leader at her company. So yes, you can move up without taking a management role. You can make 6 figures without managing people. So yes, I keep getting emails to go back to school. I'm unsure if it's the best move. It depends. I have a degree. I'm all for people getting degrees. I'm just like, do you have a plan on how you're going to leverage that degree in your career? If you're going back for career purposes, if you're going back just because you love learning, that's one thing. But if you're like, I want to go back to school because I want to make more money, I'd have a plan on how you're going to leverage that. And then is it a way that you can make that money without going back to school first? Like I've had clients go back, especially in the healthcare, like go back to school, literally her income jumped $70,000, right? So it just depends. Like what's the plan for it? My work environment has become toxic to the point my anxiety increased. Yeah. Yeah, when your job starts giving you anxiety like that and it's increasing, we have to think like you can it's other ways to make money that won't create this much anxiety. There are great companies out there. There are great environments. There are great managers too. Do you do consulting on how to advance in the government sector? Yes. Yes, I'm originally from Baltimore, so a lot of my clients are in DC and with the government. So yeah. So yes, I do work with a lot of people in the government sector as well. Yeah. All right. This has been amazing, you all. Thank you so much. Let me all right. And you all have my links. Be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn, you guys. Be sure to book that virtual coffee if you want to chat with me. I am so excited. This has been amazing. I do have that one-page sheet that I'm going to make sure I give the HBCU Career Center. I want to say thank you to them for allowing me to speak with you all. They are in such an amazing organization as well. Be sure to connect and check them out as well. I'm going to make sure. Yes, thank you. I just want to make sure I got all the questions. You guys, thank you. Oh, this is stop sharing.